Hey folks, this is Steve with Nonprofit Ally, and today I'm going to be going over the 501c3 application for nonprofits. It's Form 1023, that's 1023, that you'll be filling out and submitting to the IRS. I'm going to go over the application that I'm actually submitting to them for Noble Paws, which is a nonprofit that we're starting up here in Alaska. And I'll take you through the different sections of the 501c3 application, the Form 1023, and give you an idea of what to expect when you're going to go ahead and fill out this form. There's a number of things you have to have in place prior to filling out your Form 1023, and I'll go over what those things are so that you can be prepared when you do fill out this form. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, so this is the IRS 1023 application. It's laid out for you here. And I'm going to just give you a quick overview of this because I'm going to go into a little more detail just following this. So the first thing you're going to have is the 1023 checklist, and that is actually included in part of the application and needs to be turned in. Then there is your 1023 application, which is about 14 pages long. After that, you have to turn in your articles of organization, which you should have already filed with your state. If you've done any amendments to your articles of organization or your articles of incorporation, as some people call it, if there's any amendments, be sure to include those. And then, of course, you have to include your bylaws, which should have already been approved at your first nonprofit meeting. So all of this should already be completed at this point. And then here are all the attachments that go along with your 1023 application. And each attachment is for different sections that throughout the application process that you have to fill in with more detail. So those attachments get included. And of course, you have to pay the IRS for this. And currently, at the time of this recording, it's $850 to apply for your 501c3 status. And you do need an EIN number. So it's easy, it's free, it only takes 5 minutes to fill out, and you can do it online. Just look up EIN and IRS and EIN in Google, and it'll get you to the right page. Okay, so let's head on into the more detailed version of this.
Okay, folks, well, there she is. This is your Form 1023 that you can download from the IRS's website. It's a PDF file. I'm going to flip through this for you, so I'm just going to remove it here. And we'll kind of just go through it quickly page by page so you can get an idea of what you're in for here. A lot of it has check boxes that you can fill out on your own as you go through it. Other times you can type in your information right into the lines. But what's going to end up happening is you go through it, it's going to ask you to attach files and documents to it so that you can explain more in detail some of the questions they're asking for. But again, it's about 14 pages long, and I would give yourself a couple days to do it and just kind of take it in stride. It asks for information about your bylaws and your articles. You're going to have an EIN number, like I explained earlier in this, and it comes with an instruction manual. You should look that up online and grab that when you're getting your 1023, which is called the F1023, which stands for Form 1023. There's also going to be an I-1023, and that is your information or your instructional manual that comes with the 1043. When you wrap up, it's going to ask you for some financial information and also a balance sheet. And you're going to get to your signature line for your organization at the end. There's one thing that you're going to have to check, because this can change sometimes, is that when you fill out your application and you go to pay for your fees, check the IRS website and make sure that you have the current fee structure. And if you don't, and the forms sometimes aren't out of date, and so you actually may have to strike out. This one says that it's $750 for the fee, user fee, but it's actually $850. So I went ahead and crossed it out and put it in there. So that's a quick overview of this. Now, what I like to do with every single section, and you saw that in the overview, the picture of all my forms and files that I was getting ready to file, is I like to have a cover sheet on each and every section that I'm going to turn into them. So there would be included in this is just the title of what's on here. Up here again in the header is a title of what's on there, and then the name of the organization I'm trying to get nonprofit status for, and my EIN number. Now they ask you to put that on every single form that you have, so just get a template form made up in Word doc or whatever you use, and put a header in there with the either the line item number or whatever you're filling out there, but make sure your EIN number is included in there. All right, I'm going to quickly run through some of the other stuff that I filed away. They're going to want your articles of incorporation. They're going to want your original articles. So your original articles, you can get this, and it's going to have to be certified by your state, so make sure you have that. And you can just print it off. Usually it's on your state website. So our articles were really quick our first time around, but then we had to actually amend them because there was things we needed to add to it. And I also printed out my certificate of incorporation. Now, if you've made any amendments to your articles of incorporation, you have to include those. In our case, we did. So again, we amended articles, and I wanted to make sure that they understood that these were the current articles, because these articles include some of the things that the IRS wants to see when you try to become a 501c3. And again, up here in the header, I have this is the amended articles, and over here, the name of the corporation that we're trying to get nonprofit status for, as well as our EIN number. Now these here, I don't know if you can hear it, but my dog is chasing his tail in the background. These here are certified and by the state, so the date they receive it, these stamps are on them. They want copies of that official stamped document, and so this is our articles. Just a couple brief view of what it looks like, stamped by everybody. And again, I included our official incorporation certificate for the state. They're also going to want to see a copy of your bylaws. And now, if you followed along on the Nonprofit Ally website, we do have a section on there about creating your bylaws. And in that section on the website, it tells you what information you should put in there that the IRS is going to look for. And some of that stuff is going to be your purpose statement. You definitely want to have your 501c3 purpose down here, where it tells there's certain language that you need to have in there for the IRS, and they actually give you, the IRS really helps you on this. They want you to succeed. They're going to give you sample copies or sample text of what they want to see written in there. A lot of times you can just cut and paste that in. Other times you may need to get some outside resources, but these are our bylaws. And so again, as we quickly go through this, and I connected all that together, I put the cover letter on there, the cover with the title, the bylaws, and again, the EIN number over there. Now we get into the actual attachments that go to the 1023 form. So part 4 of the 1023, they want a narrative of our activities. Now, a lot of times you may have this already in your bylaws. You may have a description of what you do in your bylaws. In this part, you actually want to get a little more detailed and give them a summary of the activities you plan on doing, what % of your organization that activity is going to be, even go on down to personnel, how you think you're going to get funded. You can get pretty detailed in here. When in doubt, give more detail, because they really want to see it. They're not trying to scrutinize anything, but they just want to be sure that what you're doing, sloppy over there, what you're doing is it satisfies the requirements to be a nonprofit. And so then again, here's my attachment for part 5. This is an important part. So what they're going to want to see here is that you have a good conflict of interest clause in your bylaws. And so if you don't, that might be something you want to research. You can again go to the nonprofitally.com website and see what we have there, or you can invest. There's really good resources out there, or if you want, you can hire a lawyer to do this. But basically what we did here is we refer to our conflict of interest policy quite a bit in here, and let me read you some of the language that we used in this. So sometimes when they want documentation of compensation, we'll refer to certain articles, like Article 7, Section 4 of the organization's bylaws, which are attached to this application, require the taking of written minutes of the meetings at which compensation paid to any director, officer, or disqualified person, and this is actually a technical term for the IRS, as defined in Section 4958 of the Internal Revenue Code are approved. The minutes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's that type of language that they're going to be looking for, specifically quoting different parts of the IRS code. Now, if you're not a lawyer or if you're not a professional nonprofit incorporator, you're probably going to want to get outside help or invest in some of the resources out there. And I'll show you here in a minute what I used. Again, this was a real quick one for us to fill out our member and group benefits. So this is only one sheet that's here. But again, I still made sure that I had it really easy, just in case someone drops it, or maybe I don't know how they process this, so maybe different people from different departments process different sections. So you really want to make sure that everything's labeled and that it's referenced to you. And I put page numbers on everything. And getting close to the end here, this is the Part 7, the specific activities of the organization. Again, they ask you about those, and we document those in there, the different things that we'll be having in there. A lot of times you'll be just saying no. You're not going to do certain things, and at which point, if you're checking no in the 1023 application, you don't have to add any supporting documents. We have mostly no's in a lot of the sections, but when you check yes, be prepared to detail that. And then in the end, that financial data, you saw that in the 1023, they're going to want to see that written out. As a new organization, chances are you're not going to have a really great idea of what your expenses are going to be or what your income. A best guess is okay. They expect that, especially in newly founded organizations, that they're going to have a best guess in there, and express that in there too. When you write in your organization, when you write in there, tell them that you're newly funded, that you don't know exactly what you're going to be getting, but these are your best estimates. Now, when you're all done with it, they're going to give you a checklist, and it's in the 1023 application, and that checklist is going to help you make sure that you package this just the way they want it. They even tell you the order to stack your materials when you send them. So this is on top, and then this, and then this, and they're asking you for specific things in certain ways. And then they're going to make sure that you went through, because when you're done, if you're a church organization, or if you're going to be an organization that grants to other organizations, then you have some schedules down here that you might have to fill out. For us, we're a pretty straightforward nonprofit. We don't have to fill out any of those schedules. Thank God, because it was just more paperwork. And then the second page of that, again, very important, they want you to reference again. And even though you already did it, they want you to reference again where your clauses are for conflict of interest and your clauses are for dissolution. And then they give you the mailing addresses down here to excuse me, to mail it away. And the very last thing you do is you take an envelope and you go ahead and you put your check in there. Make it out to the IRS, and they want this in an envelope, and they don't want this envelope attached in any way except for maybe a paper clip. But they don't want it stapled or glued or taped on anywhere, but this goes on the very top of your application. So when you're done, your application goes there, and then this goes on top of everything, and then you stack it all together like that. You put it in a priority mail or regular mail and send it away. So it's a lot to type up. It's going to take you a few days. There's probably 40 pages there of typed up information that I have. That's not including the 14 pages of the 1023. The resource that I used that really helped me, there's no way I could have done it without it, was this book here. It's the NOLO. They're lawyers, and they create lots of different books, but this was invaluable to me as I went through there. They have sample language in there that you can just cut and paste or copy and type right into your 1023 application. They also, in the back here, they have a disc. So if you're just starting it, your nonprofit and you're only at the state level, they actually have sample bylaws in here, sample incorporations. This walks you through the whole thing. I use this book mainly for my 1023 application, but it certainly helped us out when we were going through our state incorporation. So it's got heaps. You can see it's a pretty well used book. So anyway, I recommend them, and I'm going to put a link to them at the bottom of this video for you. One thing you should know is I am an affiliate for this organization. I do make a little bit of money if you use my link. It's not going to cost you any more. So feel free to use that link if you like to. It helps me out and helps me so that I can continue to produce the material that I'm producing, like this video today. So give them a shot. There are other books out there for sure. Go to Amazon.com and do some reviews. If you really want to, you can hire a lawyer. That would certainly help out. They can be expensive. They can be thousands of dollars. I think this book was $50. Let me see if it's on the back. Oh, look at that. $49.99, $50. Yeah, it was invaluable. So anyway, that's the 1023 application process. Good luck with it, folks. It's an exciting time for you. If you can fill out this application, you're going to be able to write a grant, because grants are just basically getting your ducks in a row and being organized. So if you're getting your ducks in a row now and you're organized, you're on a good foundation, and well, best of luck to you. Well, folks, that about wraps it up here. I hope you found that informative and useful for what you're doing. Starting a nonprofit is a very exciting process to get started, and I hope that your application goes smoothly. If you want to learn more about starting a nonprofit, or tips on getting your website up, or starting your social media campaign, or your first fundraiser, you can visit nonprofitally.com. On the website, you'll see a blog there that I try to keep updated weekly with different tips and suggestions. I also have a podcast where I interview experts in the nonprofit field, as well as executive directors and board members from other nonprofits throughout the country. That's worth a listen to. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter. Just keep up to date on things there. Let me know if this was helpful, or if you have any feedback or other ideas for other videos or tutorials that you'd like to see. Just give me an email at steve@nonprofitally.com. And thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful.